My name is Wendy Sachs, and I'm on the board of Plant Powered Metro New York. And on behalf of everyone at Plant Powered Metro New York, thank you for being here. Plant Powered Metro New York is a community-based organization committed to our collective health empowerment through a whole food, plant-based approach to nutrition, which is an evidence-based approach that's proven to prevent, treat, and even reverse chronic illness. Most of you who are here already know this. We've been offering a wide range of online courses since March, and while we're always eager to come back to create these events in person and really share in community, because food and people and community is so linked together. We're all on Zoom these days or on Facebook. So understanding the constraints, we're really grateful that those of you who show up every week, or those of you who are here for the first time, or those of you who just pop in and out, are really part of our plant-based community at this point. The way today will go is, as usually, we'll do about 45 minutes of Carole in the kitchen cooking. And then we'll have about 15 minutes for questions. And if we go over on the cooking part, we may also then go over with questions. Put all your questions in the chat. I usually answer them. I'll be monitoring the chat, and I'll usually answer as much as I can right away, but we always have time at the end for me to repeat the questions, so they're also on the recording. And Carole can answer them more directly as well. So today we have a really special event. We're featuring Thanksgiving sides. So Thanksgiving's of course right around the corner, and Carole will have us prepared. So Carole, what's on the menu?
Oh, thank you, Wendy. Thank you, everyone behind the scenes. Welcome. This is part 2, Sides Galore. We are making a lot of things today, and we're making 5 things, and we're using the oven, and we've got a lot to get through. So I'm not going to talk a lot, but I do want to tell you that when preparing and trying to figure out what we were going to make, that every family and everybody that I know has traditional Thanksgiving food. There's not one person that says, I have to have this because my family has had it in my, history. We have to have coleslaw for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, really? How does coleslaw go in Thanksgiving? But everybody has their own traditional foods. And what I am preparing today is somewhat traditional, but I also wanted to bring in some new vegetables, some familiar vegetables, and give it an extra twist. Okay, so what inspires me during Thanksgiving? Otherwise, it's very boring, and you end up with a lot of sweet things and a lot of starchy things, and that doesn't excite me at all. So the very first thing, so I'm going to tell you that we're making 5 things, as I said. We're making a cauliflower and tahini, roasted cauliflower with a tahini sauce. We're making cranberry sauce. We're making, but not the cranberry sauce that jiggles, and not that you know from a can, and not the kind from your mother that has a cup of sugar. We're actually making healthy, good, kind of like tangy, tart, spicy cranberry sauce. And then we're making cabbage. We're making cabbage steaks with a spice called Dukkah, which is an Egyptian spice. And on the recipes, actually, I gave you a link to the New York Times article that Martha Rose Shulman, who writes amazing things in the wellness and health section of the New York Times. It was her recipes, I think back in 2013, I think. Anyway, I gave you the link so you could go read about Dukkah and look at. She provides like 5 different recipes, and today we're going to learn how to make one of those recipes. And then we're making my favorite fennel salad, which I make all year, round, even if fennel's not in session. And then we're making Brussels sprouts with grapes and balsamic vinegar. And last but not least, we're going to make a cornbread, because if you were with me a couple episodes ago, we made pumpkin muffins, but this is actually Kathy Fisher's recipe from not from her Straight Up Food, actually. It's just from her website, and I think it's a really nice special cornbread that makes perfect for Thanksgiving. So let's get started, okay? Right now in the oven, because I only have one oven, we've got a lot of oven cooking to do. I actually can show you what's in the oven just so you see. I have the oven on 400 degrees, and I'm actually roasting Brussels sprouts. So let me just show you those really quickly, and I'm gonna just show you those right here. I have Brussels sprouts, garlic, and grapes, okay, on a sheet pan in a 400 degree oven. And those are just cooking away. And they're gonna be cooking while we're making other things. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go and we have pages. So I'm not using my normal plastic thing because we have pages. And we're gonna go to the page that says Tahini-Roasted Cauliflower. Okay, pretty fast recipe actually. We get a bowl, okay? We get a bowl, large bowl, and in this bowl, I have already measured a number of things. So let me get a spatula. And in this bowl, I have measured, and I'm gonna make a half a recipe so that I don't end up with so much cauliflower. But the recipe is using a full cauliflower. I've used a half a cauliflower, meaning a half a head. And I've chopped it up here, and it's all in these little florets, okay? If somebody later doesn't know how to chop a half a cauliflower or what to do with the cauliflower, I'm happy to show you, but I'm assuming at the moment that you know. Okay, so we're going to take this out. We have 2 tablespoons of tahini. We actually have a quarter teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. We have 1 tablespoon of soy tamari, and I'm getting that in here, okay? It's all going in here. It's like, it is a tahini dressing, basically. Okay, and that is going to go here. And then we have a quarter cup of water, okay? This is a pretty basic tahini recipe, although it doesn't always have tahini. And then we're putting lime juice. Usually tahini dressing has lemon, but we're putting lime. So I'm just changing it up a little bit. I have a friend that's a Dominican friend of mine, and she said, you know, we use lemons and limes interchangeably. I said, what do you mean? Like limes have a taste and lemons have a taste? But she said, no, we use limes like all the time, even when we need lemons. And so I kind of have been thinking about that a lot because the limes are much cheaper. So I've been on the cheaper side of buying lots of limes and only a few lemons. Okay, and I'm going to get a little whisk, and we're just going to whisk this around. Okay, and I'm just going to read to make sure that I haven't forgotten. I put tahini and water, lime juice, tamari, and the garlic was already in the bowl. Okay, the garlic was already in the bowl, and this has to get broken up. It's really chunky here, this tahini. I don't like. I'm actually using a different tahini, and you can really see when it doesn't break down like you expect it to. Don't like that. Anyway, so what's going to happen is this is all going to, the cauliflower is just going to get tossed in this tahini dressing, and then we're going to put it in the oven, and it's going to cook, and it's going to be amazingly good because it's going to be coated in tahini. Okay, so let me just, again, it's taking a little bit time. I don't know why it's not broken up like that. You don't want those lumps. You want to get that all broken down. There's really no need to taste this because I kind of know what it tastes like, but it's good. It's actually good. Very tangy. And anybody that doesn't know what tahini is, it's ground sesame seeds. And I use it a lot. I like it a lot. Okay, that's that. Okay, so what's going to happen now are these, our cauliflower is literally just going to go right in there. Okay, just like that. And we're going to toss this. Okay, these are not cooked cauliflowers. We are going to put them in the oven, and it's going to have this nice coating. It's going to be so delicious. I'm so excited. I ate a whole thing of this. I ate all of this in one sitting the other day myself. So I don't know if that was good or bad. I don't know if I should be bragging that I ate that much cauliflower at one time. But that is the recipe. Easy enough. And we're going to finish it with some cumin seeds and a dusting of smoked paprika. Okay, but on a sheet pan, and we already have one sheet pan in, and I'm just using the small sheet pan here that I have. And I've lined it with a piece of parchment paper. Okay, and we've talked about parchment. If you have a silicone mat, you could put that in. And I will show you that I like this parchment paper here. It's a brown piece of paper, and I like it a lot. I have a whole roll here, brand new, and I'm happy about that. So we are just going to get this on the sheet pan, and I'm making sure that I get all of the sauce, right? Because there's going to be some sauce that lags behind, and I'm just going to pour it on. And you really don't want to pile it, okay? So if you're using a whole cauliflower, make sure that you get a full sheet pan so that everything is kind of touching and not sitting on top of each other. You want one even layer, okay, of all this. And the dressing is going to just get drizzled on. And I cannot tell you how excited I am about these. And the bowl is gonna go there. And then we're going to put a little bit, I have some cumin seeds. And if you didn't have cumin seeds, then you could use ground cumin. That's up to you. This is optional, but I like it. It makes it really pretty. And then I have some smoked paprika, which is just going to give it a little teeny bit of dusting. Okay, just so that it kind of has a little bit of red. Just a little tiny dusting. And this is going to go in the oven just like this. Okay, and that is our dish right there. And I'm just going to show that to you so you can see it. And if you could just put your nose to it like I've just done, it's just like, I'm not sure what smells better, the smoked paprika or the cumin seeds. Anyway, this is right up my Middle Eastern alley here. And I'm going to just put it in the oven as we speak right now. And I know that everything's in there. Perfect. So now we're on to number 2. We want to start the cranberry sauce, okay? And the cranberry sauce really only takes like 20 minutes, maybe at the most. And the reason I wanted to make you cranberry sauce is everyone has their own kind of tart cranberry sauce. I like tart cranberry sauce, but some people call it chutney. There's a whole lot of things that you can do with these cranberries, okay? There's lots of variations. So this is just one variation, and this is my own variation, okay? You can look and find whatever you like. I'm using a pear today. You could swap this out and use an apple if you'd like, but I have a pear that's very ripe. I put a little bit of ginger, and I put a half. So I chopped ginger, and I also chopped half a jalapeno. Actually, today was a serrano because that's all I had. So I had chopped just half a serrano and some ginger. So that's going to make it a little bit hot. Now, if you're one of those people that say, oh, I don't want it to be hot, I want it to only be sweet, well, then just leave the jalapeno out, okay? But you're going to, if you make it like this, you're going to see how it's tart and hot and sweet all at the same time. And then I give you 2 choices for putting cinnamon. You can put ground cinnamon, which I have here. But if you want, you could also put a cinnamon stick, one or the other, not both, okay? It's up to you. I think it's more common for most people to have cinnamon than to have a cinnamon stick. So I thought we would show that. And then we also need to have some orange juice and some orange zest. And I think that you have heard me more times than one time say that when you're opening and going into a piece of citrus, that to always zest it, okay? Whether you're with lime, lemon, or orange, because if you're not using salt or you're not using the zest actually helps bring up the flavor, okay? So I actually have been cooking all week, and I have an entire container of zest. And what do I do with this when I'm not having a cooking demo? I actually put it on my oatmeal in the morning. I sometimes sprinkle it on my salad in the at lunchtime. Okay, so this is going in. The cranberries are going in. Okay, the ginger is also going in. Everything's going in. Okay, and I'm not going to worry. I know the Brussels sprouts are in the oven. We're going to put a light under this, and we're just going to put a small light. Okay, and we are going to get this juiced. We need juice, and let me just turn the page here because I like, you know, I tend to memorize things, and it's not good because I could forget the most important ingredient. We do need to have some date paste, okay? And I've talked to you about date paste, and it is the only sugar that I use. But if you don't have date paste, the other two alternatives are you can use some maple syrup, okay, equal amounts. So I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of date paste, or you could put in 2 medjool dates that are already pitted, and the dates actually will disintegrate in there actually, and it will be quite nice. So 2 medjool dates, some or date paste, or 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Okay, it all depends on what you like. Okay, and I had a whole jar of date paste, and it's nearly gone. I'm just going to, this is our sweetener. Now, I want to tell you that when my mother used to make cranberry sauce, well, she didn't really make cranberry sauce. She took it out of the can, and I used to like it because it had those little rings around it. And that's what I think of most often when I think of cranberry sauce. But even as an adult, when I started making my very own cranberry sauce, I would follow the directions on the bag, and it said 3 cups of cranberries with 1 cup of water and 1 cup of white sugar. And now I think about that and I think, oh my God, I would never put 1 cup of sugar in anything. So I'm not going to peel this right now to save a little bit of time. And this is a really beautiful orange. And I have a juicer right here. And we need to have a 1/4 cup of juice. Okay. So we're just going to get a 1/4 cup. It's probably almost this half an orange because, you know, when you buy oranges, if they feel heavy in your hands, then you know you've got a good orange with a lot of juice. Okay. And this probably is going to render 1/4 cup. I just can tell. And if we're lucky here, let's just see. Ah, perfect. 1/4 cup. Amazing. So that's going in there. So that means we have, this goes into the compost. I'm going to put that there. And we'll save this just for the orange for future. And then let's put our 1/4 teaspoon. Let's put our 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And I'll get that out. And let me just make sure that, yes, it's 1/4 teaspoon. And this is very special cinnamon. Special royal cinnamon from burlap. Barrel and burlap, is that it? Barrel and burlap. It's heavenly and it smells really good. So that's cinnamon. So let's just make sure that I have everything. So I did a half of this recipe. Oh no, I did a full. So 2 cups of cranberries, some kind of sugar, right? We talked about that. We put water. We need a juice of 1 whole orange, not a half an orange. So I'm going to take back the rest of the orange. And we need 1 teaspoon, actually, 1 whole teaspoon of zest. Okay, and it doesn't matter if it's exactly a teaspoon. I have so much here that I'm just going to put a teaspoon. That's our flavoring. And we're just going to get, I knew I needed that. I thought I needed that whole orange, but what do I remember? No. So that, and then we're going to also cut our pear. And that's just going to cook. And as soon as the cranberries start to pop, it's, I've already just heard one. And we're not going to measure this. So basically you need a half a cup of juice, right? So if you had orange juice, right? And I'm going to show you what this looks like in 1 second. We have a lot going on here. I'm going to move this. And I like keeping these spoons sometimes close by in case I need them. And we need to put the pear. Okay, we need to put the pear. But let me just show you what this looks like in the pot. Okay, do you see that? It's really pretty. It's got red and orange and colors. And we're going to give that a stir. And we're going to stir that with a spoon. Sometimes things get moved around here in my kitchen. But we want to get that date paste into the water. So it kind of starts to, we'll get everything moved around here. Every single thing. Okay, so that is going to cook. And basically, if just so you know that the liquid is almost covering the berries, the cranberries. Okay. These are the ocean spray kind of cranberries that I just bought in a package at the grocery store. But soon, if you're at the farmer's market, there will be a farmer that will have cranberries. Okay, so I'm taking the pear, and I mentioned that you could absolutely use an apple if you wanted. I just try to get fruit in there. You could use orange segments. And the only reason that I'm not using orange segments is because we have other dishes tonight that have orange segments. So I wanted to have a little bit of variety here. Okay, and all I'm doing here is just taking out the core and the stem. Okay, and we're gonna just small dice this. So we'll just take a few seconds to get this. These are really big seeds. And just so you see what I'm doing in this bowl here, I usually keep a bowl on my counter for when I'm cutting garbage, okay? And garbage means sometimes I have two bowls. One is real garbage that is going to be compostable, and then the other is a bowl for making stock. But tonight we're not doing any stock cooking. So these pears are going to go in there just directly like that, and just cutting them into small dice. Okay, this pear, you don't want to get a pear that's too ripe so that it's, mushy. And you also don't want to get a pear that's too not ripe. So I always buy a bunch of pears and leave them on the counter. And at a certain point, they're just perfect. Okay, and there's going to be liquid that comes out of these pears that will also go into the flavoring. And that will cook. Just like, again, if you didn't have a pear, you could use an apple. Okay? And what kind of apple? Any kind of apple. Honestly. I would probably, in this dish, if you were using an apple, I would use a Granny Smith apple, because that way it is green. Green. You'll see the green skin against the red. Being really pretty. So, look, I just want to show you how full this pan is, okay? It's really full. And actually, I'm going to put this on the back burner for this moment so that it's not right in our face. And we'll put the light on. And that's just going to cook for like 20 minutes. Okay, so we are now moving to the next thing. And let's check out the Brussels sprouts, because that is pretty important. And I like getting the cutting board wiped down. And let's just see how the Brussels sprouts are doing, because I put them in advance. And we'll see what's going on with those. Okay, so let's check it out. This is one of the reasons why I moved the pan to the back, because I like taking things out and having a place. Before you take something out, you have to know, like, where are you going to put it, okay? And again, I just want to show you this because you didn't see me put it in, but it's grapes, red grapes, seedless grapes, and Brussels sprouts. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to turn these over. You see, they're brown. You see, there's no oil here. I just want to tell you, absolutely, there is no oil. And look how beautiful. I'm going to show you one close so you can see. It's brown. No oil. Amazing. The grapes are not quite done. They haven't, like, bursted. Usually they collapse on themselves. You could turn them over. We could just give it a little turn over. I actually like the Brussels sprouts. This is a preference, okay? It's up to all of you how you like your Brussels sprouts. These Brussels sprouts technically are cooked at this very moment. And how do I know that? I would put a fork in. I'll tell you how I know that. Because I can see, first of all, that they're done, and a fork goes into them just like you would check a potato. Okay, now if you want the bottoms, the fronts, to get much more brown, you can do that. But I'm just going to turn these over. I'm going to give it 1 minute, just 1 extra minute, while we get room here. And I'm going to show you in 1 minute. Those are just going to stay in there for just a minute. Okay, and I want to show you what I did for the Brussels sprouts, because maybe you've seen them in the store and you don't know what they are, They grow on a big stem. And I always think that they look like your spine. Your spine has all those vertebrae. And that's just what a Brussels sprout looks like. They're quite beautiful. And if you go to the market, you can buy them fresh, or you go to someone's garden and they actually are growing them. They're quite beautiful. And they have when they break them off, there's a hard root. So you always want to cut that off, okay? You just cut it off so that it's flat, right? Do you see what I've done? I've just taken the bottom off. Now these are pretty big Brussels sprouts, and I decided to leave them half, okay? But if you think that that's just too big, you are welcome to quarter them, okay? And I half them, but I'm just showing you if you were to quarter. Now what happens is, here's the garbage, the stem is the garbage, and when you're cutting, these little leaves all just kind of fall off. You know, the Brussels sprout is part of the cruciferous family, and it's similar to cabbage, right? We're going to deal with a cabbage later. But the fact is that there are many, many layers. So the root here is this down here is kind of holding it all together. But these leaves just fall off when you prep. It's kind of just a natural thing. So don't get freaked out that it's like shedding. You're thinking, oh my God, they're falling apart while I'm cutting them. Don't worry about that. But don't throw those leaves out. This is still food, and you're still just going to gather all these when it's time, and you would put these on your sheet pan, all of it, the leaves and the things, okay? But for now, I'm just going to put this because we don't need it, and these are going to get eaten later eventually. I'm just going to put it in a plate and just get rid of it. So we just are not dealing with it. Okay, so now we are going to I said that was going to stay a minute. The other thing that we have here for the Brussels sprouts are two things. We're going to just dress it with balsamic vinegar. And this is a really nice balsamic vinegar. I learned about it from Chef AJ. It's called Napa Naturals. And why is it a nice one? It's a special reserved one, and it's got 4% acidity opposed to other normal balsamic vinegars that have 6%. And this balsamic is like, I always have two in the cabinet. I have cheaper balsamic, and then I have nice balsamic. And this one is like almost like syrup. So this one is kind of perfect for the salad. And then I bought some thyme, fresh thyme. And if you didn't have fresh thyme, you could use some dry thyme. It's really okay. But it comes in a package that looks like that. And actually, during Thanksgiving, they make packages that have a little bit of everything. And I love those packages. It will have a little bit of sage. It will have a little bit of rosemary. It will have a little bit of thyme, a little bit of oregano. And I love those packages. You don't see them but once a year. So that's what the package of thyme looks like. And this, I'm just going to give this a quick little chop, okay? I peeled the stems. I hope that it comes and it looks like this, right? That's how fresh thyme looks. And just like when you're cleaning kale and you have a stem, right? You go backwards. So if you push backwards, everything comes off. And then you get rid of that stem into your garbage, okay? And then you chop, chop, chop this fresh thyme, okay? That's what you do, chop, chop, chop. It's not gonna, and all of a sudden, I just got a whiff of really yummy thyme. So that's gonna go as our top. Now we're going to take out our Brussels sprouts, okay? And while I'm in the oven, because I'm baking two things at a time, see now the grapes, what's great are the grapes are starting to explode and they're starting to leak, kind of like when you cook sweet potatoes, right? You get a little bit of sugar coming out, and that's what's happening at the grapes, okay? And I'm going to move up our cauliflower it was at the bottom, and now I'm going to move it to the top. Okay, it doesn't need to be turned or tossed because I'm waiting for one of the sides to get brown, and it probably needs 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do right now is carefully, this is very hot, and I'm always very careful. I just want you to know, move this bowl out of here and this garbagey thing over here. I want to tell you to be careful because this is my fear all the time, okay? My fear all the time is never to have this parchment paper close to the burner, okay? Because I imagine the worst all the time, and I see a fire in like 1 minute. So this is probably not the safest place to have this. So I'm immediately going to make a little rearrangement here just for a moment, okay? And I'm going to get a trivet, okay? I'm going to move some things because I don't like that piece of paper is so close to the fire. Okay, so we're going to move this right here for a minute. I feel safe now. That makes me just feel like nothing's going to happen. And then we're going to carefully, this is the beauty of parchment paper. I just want to show you. Okay. You take this and you just bring it all into here, just like that. And you've got this paper like that. And then you get this we don't need, so we're going to just get it out of the way, and we're going to put it down here. It's very, very hot, and we're just going to let it cool down there. And then how much of the, I'm going to say that we probably need 2 tablespoons, but could need 3 tablespoons. Okay, so let's just pour this on here. We might only need 1. This, I'm gonna give it 2, actually, just because of the amount. Okay, and we need a little black pepper. That definitely, we need that. Okay, and then we need the thyme. Okay, the thyme is gonna go in there. Maybe we'll leave a little bit on the counter here on the cutting board for decorating. And then we get a spoon and we give this a good toss. And of course, the minute I go in there, I heard my spoon dig into a grape. Okay. And you might wonder, like, how do I know that I have enough balsamic? Because you just want to give everything a good coat, okay? And everything is, it looks, I think I could use maybe, well, let's just taste it. I guess that's one way of knowing. Oh, you can taste the thyme. And I'm getting the black, it's pretty yummy. Sometimes I surprise my own self, actually. So that is just Brussels sprouts. I mean, I don't know how much simpler a thing can be. Some Brussels sprouts, grapes, and garlic, right? And balsamic vinegar. And I think it's delicious. And I just want to taste, I tasted just a leaf. I'm going to taste a grape. And one more bite. I'm hungry. It's dinner time. Delicious. Done. Okay. Oh, and we have to sprinkle a little bit of thyme on the top. Okay. And that's it. And we're just going to leave that there. And we're going to clean the cutting board really fast. And we're going to move on to the next thing. And we're also going to probably check our cauliflower. And we're going to stir our cranberry sauce. We're going to do, we have got a lot going on here. Okay. But the cranberry sauce is actually boiling like crazy. And I probably can lower the light a little bit because it doesn't need to cook so fast. Okay, and we're just going to lower the light just a little. And we're going to get our spoon of cranberry sauce. And let me just, things are not always in the same place as and let's just see. See, this is boiling. You see? Oh, whew, that's cinnamon. Can you smell the cinnamon? And this is hot, actually. One just doesn't just go to the pan and not use up a pot holder. Okay, so this is this, okay? You can smell it. Now, if you want to add a little nutmeg, you want to add a little cloves, you could add some cloves if you desire, okay? But we don't want everything to be this runny, okay? So as it continues to cook, it's going to reduce, okay? So that's happening. Okay, and we're also going to take a minute to look at our cauliflower because it's right here, and this is what it's looking like, okay? And we're going to just look at it, and I'm going to just use the spatula to see if it's browny. You see it's starting to brown, and I usually don't like moving it. It's not quite ready to move, okay? I want it to be brown on the top, and then I want it to be brown on the bottom where it's touching. You see, it's starting to get brown. It is starting, but it needs a few more minutes, at least 5 to 7 minutes. And the ovens, we're not rushing the oven at the moment, but we are going to put the next thing in the oven, and we will need the sheet pan again, and that's cooking. So we're going to do the dukkah, and we're going to make the cabbage and the dukkah. Okay, so first let's get the dukkah made, and it is one of my favorite spices. I can't tell you more how exciting dukkah can be. Let's get this and this away. This is a coffee grinder, okay? And I have had this little thing since I was in college. So I want to say it's my oldest piece of equipment. Okay, it gets plugged in. I never ever grind coffee in here. It's only for spices. Okay, and we're going to get a bowl, which I have here. Okay, and what we have here, I just want to show you really how beautiful this is. We have a half a cup of pumpkin seeds, green pumpkin, often known as pepitos. And then we actually have, if I remember right, if I have to look at the recipe, I think we have definitely 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds. Okay, we have 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds that I've toasted. How did I toast them? I toasted them in a pan on the stove until they were light brown. Okay, everything's been toasted. The pumpkin seeds, the cumin seeds, sesame seeds, and coriander. Okay, and how much coriander? 2 tablespoons. Okay, now they tell us that we should hold back some of the pumpkin seeds, and we need to hold back a 1/4 cup. Okay, and it's just roughly, it doesn't have to be exact. Okay, it's just so that we have some whole pumpkin seeds, and they're the only thing that doesn't get ground. Okay, now this recipe calls for also a half a teaspoon of salt. And when I used to make this all the time and give out as gifts for holidays. And people would just say, bring back the jar, and they would say, I need more Dukkah. And I would just whip it up and I would just give it out. And then someone would say, I'm eating Dukkah on my bread. I'm eating Dukkah on my salad. I'm eating Dukkah on this. Everything they're eating Dukkah on. And I thought, how great is that? You know? But I kind of stopped making it for a while when I had, oops, this thing is just a pain in the ass. Just 1 second here. This thing is always like this. Oh, I'm going to go over there and use the other one. Okay, so this gets ground, okay? And I have a little brush, a little paintbrush that I dig things out, okay? You don't want to pulverize it too much, because then, just kind of like when you're grinding peanut butter, right? If you grind it, the oils start to come out. Or if you grind walnuts, the oils start to come out. So that, you don't want to grind it forever. Otherwise, it just gets too oily. We'd be making tahini, basically. Okay, so we're putting all of this. It usually takes like 3 times. Okay, and let me just leave this little outlet that is a pain in my side. Okay, and come over here and just, okay, that's enough. That's enough. So this makes a lot of Dukkah. And like I said, you can give it out as presents. It's really good on potatoes, toast. I mean, I don't know. It's a laundry list of things it's good on. But the crazy thing is I kind of, since I've not been eating salt for the last 2 years, I kind of forgotten. I thought, oh, it has so much salt in it. I just don't have to make Dukkah. And then I realized the other day, I thought, you know what? It has a half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm just not going to make it with the salt. Okay, I'm going to omit the salt, and it's still going to be my very favorite recipe. Okay, and it still is going to be, and I'm going to make it. And will I notice if the salt is not in there? And I didn't notice. So if you're a person that's still eating salt, I would suggest that the recipe calls for a half a teaspoon. I would suggest you go with a 1/4 teaspoon. Try a little bit less so that you're not consuming it. But maybe you feel that you don't want to omit it entirely. Okay, I have to go back over here to this plug. And okay, that's our Dukkah. But we're not quite finished. I also want to tell you about Dukkah, and I will tell you that you can go on Amazon, and there's lots of brands, different Middle Eastern stores that actually make Dukkah in a jar, already pre-made. Now, when you read the article from the New York Times that I've provided, you'll see there's lots of kinds of Dukkah. There's Dukkah, usually has some kind of spice, some kind of nut. You can have coconut Dukkah. There's so many kinds, okay? But any kind of Dukkah would work. This one is my favorite one, and it's a Mexican one. So, and that I like so very much. So we're going to finish this off right now. And the way that I finish it off is with the last two spices. And I want to finish my sentence about the buying commercial Dukkah. You can also, I know in the past that Trader Joe's carried Dukkah in their spice section. But you know what? I don't know if they still carry it. I've been trying to buy canned pumpkin there for the last 2 weeks and they've been out. So, ask somebody if they are, if they still carry it, but definitely Trader Joe's made Dukkah. Now, the two extra spices that go into this is it calls for 1 teaspoon of mild chili powder, which is the kind of chili powder that you would use if you were making chili, or Aleppo pepper. And I actually love Aleppo pepper. It's a pepper. You can look it up, but it's a Syrian pepper. And I'm using a teaspoon, okay? I love it so much. And the reason that I'm not using the chili powder is because I use chili powder for so many things. And I have a lot of Aleppo pepper. And if I don't use it, then it's just going to go, get bad. So, and I try to keep the freshest spices. So that I use. And then there's something called Nigella Seeds. And they're actually very good for you. And they are little black seeds. I don't think you can see them, but they look like black sesame seeds. And they are different than there is a real thing called black sesame seeds. Okay. And how much do we need of that? We need to have 2 teaspoons. Okay. And I love this because you'll know why I love this. You'll see, because it's the most colorful. You'll see. I can't wait to show you what I'm looking at. Okay. Look at this bowl, and you see the Dukkah, and you see the black, and then you see the red. I mean, it's just, to me, it's a visual treat. I get a little excited over that, and this goes with the spice thing. And then I just get a spoon, and we get a spoon, and we just mix this up. Okay, that's all it is. This is Dukkah. And look, I think it is about, I'd say it's probably almost 2 cups of spices. Now, this is good for the cabinet. I would put it in a jar. And you would just store it, and it stores for, I don't know, weeks and weeks and weeks, months. Okay, I think I never last that long. And it smells heavenly. Okay, so that goes into a jar, and I actually have labeled jars for that. And we are going to get this clean for the cauliflower steaks. This is what's going to be, we're going to get rid of this. This plate here is going to be our presentation plate for the cauliflower. And we're going to get the cauliflower prepped and into the oven. And this little brush goes right back in with my cup. And I want to check the cauliflower. And I also want to do one thing, which is to just wipe up all these seeds that have populated my counter here. I cannot work in a messy kitchen. It just doesn't work that way. Okay, let's just get this dried. So we have a counter that, okay, and we are going to get our cauliflower steaks ready for cutting. And we are going to move these things. And I'm going to look right now at the tahini. And the tahini cauliflower. Ah, now it's bright. Now we're talking. You see, it doesn't, and I'm also going to stir at the same exact moment. That's looking finally good too. We're moving along here. Okay. And this is done. This is really done, and it's going to go into a plate of any sort. Actually, I like the plate that is oval and ceramic. It's right on the left-hand side of the cabinet. And it's with little bowls. It's a really pretty little ceramic bowl, the level of your head there. It's one over, one there. That's the one. It fits perfect in that bowl. It's a good thing we have people behind the scenes here, because I can't reach to the cabinet, and one is just being delivered to me just as I requested. Amazing how things work. Okay, and again, I'm really pretty good about shuffling this paper. Okay, this is kind of how I always do this. And this is going to be a tough squeeze on this, but it's going to happen. It's a little plate, but I want it to be piled high so that it looks really abundant. Okay. I probably maybe would leave them in for another minute just or so because I like things crispy and brown. But that is these. I just want to show you what they look like. And you have to just, if you could just smell the cumin and the thing. And I have to take a bite. Mm. This is garbagey paper, and I'm not taking that. It's going right into the garbage. Okay, we have to move along. We are moving along. And let's get rid of this because it's terribly ugly. And we're going to bring back our sheet pen that has the paper. And I'm actually, this has got the grapes and the Brussels sprouts. I'm just going to turn it over. It's really okay. And we're going to move this. And we're going to get, I wanted to show you, I didn't make the steaks yet. I haven't made the steaks. So I want to show you how we're making the steaks. And then we have one thing after, and then we have fennel salad too. So we're getting rid of these. And we're doing this. I have high goals here of showing you so many things. We are going to keep all of this intact. And we are going to cut that just like the Brussels sprout, actually. Exactly like the Brussels sprout. Okay, imagine this is like a big Brussels sprout. Okay, and we want to cut the steaks a ½ inch. Okay, so I showed you in a picture on the recipe that you had red ones. You can make red ones or you can make green ones. It's up to you. This is a really yummy Napa cabbage. Okay, so these are the steaks. Okay, they're ½ inch. And then I'm going to squeeze a lemon on top. I don't think we're going to cut more than 4. Okay, you can see they're kind of unwinding there. Okay, so we're going to just put this cabbage here so that, and then all we're going to do is get a lime, which is right here. I have a lime. And we're going to, see, I told you I'm really into limes these days. I'm just going to squeeze the top. Now, if you had red cabbage, I want to tell you what the minute you squeeze the lime on, they turn like pink. They start, the red dye of the cabbage starts to move around and it becomes pink. And it's a very exciting thing. But I see here that the green cabbage has no kind of tie-dye cool effect. Nothing's happening here. Disappointing. I like the red cabbage because it did that. So this is just lime juice. Okay, we'll just put this squeezed lime over here. I want to squeeze. I'm going to show you what this is looking like. Okay. We are really moving through all the dishes we are going to get through. And then the Dukkah, I need the Dukkah. And it's already in jars. And I think I told you that I even have labels. I tell you, I label every single thing in my kitchen. And because I give this as gifts, look, I type a little label and I have them. So this is how I give the gifts. Okay, then this just gets really covered, just like you're covering a surface. Okay, and you see how pretty those pumpkins, some pumpkin seeds just are on the top. Okay, and this is going to go in the oven right this minute, and then we are going to watch that, and that's for like 20 minutes, and we'll just put the Dukkah here, and we're going to make the fennel salad, and then the cornbread, and then we'll be done. Okay, that's going in. Okay, and we are on to the next thing. Okay, the next thing is the fennel salad. And I don't know how many of you I held back on cutting this up. This is a fennel, and I need the salad bowl for the fennel. And this is fronds, okay, fronds. You see, a lot of people throw this out. Well, this is the best part. To tell you the truth, you want to just cut all that off, and you'll chop that up as if it's parsley. Okay, you'll see sometimes at the store when the guy at the grocery store is trimming all this out and he's throwing away the fronds, and I'm like, hey man, wait a minute, I want the fennel with the fronds. What are you doing? Okay, so you want to cut off these stems. Okay, these are really no good for anything. Honestly, you can't even. I don't even make stock out of those. And you've got the end. Okay, the root end. And you want to get rid of this. See how these are outer leaves. And you want to keep this intact. So I'm going to cut this in half, okay? And you see how, again, very similar to everything we've done, because we're doing with a lot of cruciferous, has a root, okay? Has a root. You want to keep that root a little bit intact. I don't cut away that so much of that. I cut a little bit of it away, actually, just a little bit, not very much, because you want the fennel to stay in its place. In other words, you'll see. And then these outer, sometimes you get rid of this tough outer lid. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of that. And let's just get rid of that in my bowl of garbage, even though that's there. Okay, and we're going to get a bowl. Okay, and we're going to slice this as thin as possible. Okay, you're going to have your things back, and you're going to just cut this as thin as possible. If you had a mandolin, you could do this with a mandolin. Okay, and how thin as possible? It's pretty like transparent. You can almost see through it. Okay, looks like that. Okay, as the thinner, the better. Okay, the thinner, the better. And you're going to get a whole bowl of this. Now you can make, I'm only making one fennel because I don't want a ton of salad. This is a recipe that I had to write down the recipe because I never have written a recipe down for this because it's something that I just make and I don't think about a recipe. So you could, if you want to make a ton of salad of this, you could, just have more fennel. Just buy 2 or 3 fennels. And they're not so expensive. Get rid of that outer leaf. That's really tough. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this again. We're not making a ton. I also wrote in the notes that this is a Sicilian salad, and it's always made with oranges, always. And it often is made with black cured olives. So if you're a person that wants to eat some olives, you are welcome to put the black cured olives in here. I don't do that anymore because I don't eat so much oil. But if you were to put it, you don't need but a few black olives. And it's really pretty when it's got the oranges in it, okay? So that's your fennel. Now you're going to put the same amount of almost not the same exact amount, but you're going to put almost the same amount of red onion. Okay, and I didn't cut any of these things ahead. And we don't need a lot of onion. Some people don't like onions at all. And the other kind of onion that you would use beside this red onion is you could also use a shallot. Could you use scallions? You could, but the red onion, the red onion is classic. And when you have an Italian classic recipe, you kind of stick with the classic. You don't mess with the Italians. They know what they're doing. Okay, so this again is very, very thin. Okay, and just cut this. And this is all going on top. For the friends and the people that don't like onions, believe me, they will pick them out. Okay, I have 2 close friends that don't like onions, and they end up on the side of the plate. And I always say, maybe I'm not going to make that dish anymore because they don't like onions. But you know what? People that don't like onions know how to pick them out perfectly. And they eat all around it. So it's quite good. Okay. So this is enough onions. I think that's plenty of onions, actually. Okay. So we're just going to get this. Going to clean that up. We have lots of things over here. We're going to toss. Just want to make sure this is pretty done. This is looking very good. Very, very good. I'm going to give that a taste just to make sure that it's good. Oh, it's a little bit spicy. I said it would be, but it's good. And it's not too sweet. Okay, the sweetness is up to you. I don't like it really sweet. And like I said, I remind you, cranberries are meant to be tart. Okay, we take the fronds. The other thing that we take is I've cut into segments oranges. I have 2 kinds of oranges. I have a red orange and a blood orange and a regular orange and all the juice. So all that juice is going to marinate, and this is going to all go on top. This is a beautiful salad for when you have Valentine's Day. Okay, and I wrote in the notes that if you want, you can put some fresh mint, which we have here. I'll do maybe just a little bit, not too much, because you really want the fennel. And you could do parsley. Okay, parsley's okay, but again, you really just need the fronds. You don't need any more than the fronds. Okay, the mint is extra. And if you're one of those people that just has mint on the side, okay, and then you want this, that's the salad. And the longer this salad marinates, the better it's going to be. Of course, you want to serve it when it looks just like this, practically, right? But you do need to mix it up. Okay, and I was going to show you, but we don't have a lot of time. I'll show you very, very fast, okay? Very, very fast. Otherwise, we're not going to get to everything. That you have an orange, and this is how you, in case you wonder, you're going to just cut it, and you would normally wash your cutting board, okay? You wouldn't do what I'm doing. And you're going to wash it, and you're going to take the top and the bottom off, and then you're going to just trim it, okay? You're going to go around, and you're going to follow the curve. Very, very similar to how you cut a cantaloupe. And you want to get all that white pith off, okay? All of it. I'm not going to do the whole thing because we're going to move on to the next thing. And then what you're going to do is ultimately you're going to look into the segments, right? And you're going to start to cut into the segment, and then you'll push your knife and you'll get the segment out of the orange, okay? I'm not showing you that so well right now because we're a little bit, need to go on to the next thing. But that is how you do it. If you did want to take the segments out away from the membrane, you could absolutely take the skin off and just slice it and make little circles, or you could dice the orange. You don't have to be fancy with any of it, okay? So this is going to go away. We're going to use this for tomorrow, something else. I'm going to wash this, and we are going to make the cornbread. Okay, and we are near, just 1 second, we are almost done. And I do want to get the cranberries into the bowl because they're pretty done. And I'm ready to just get those out. So what do we have thus far? We are moving along here. Okay, so let's get these cranberries out. Now the cranberries, when they cool, they start to cool, they're going to get a little bit thicker. And they will get thicker, and they'll get thicker as they cool, and they'll get thicker also in the fridge. And remember what I said earlier, you want to have a pot holder. Okay, so this is what this looks like. I just want to show you right now that it's kind of runny, but it's not going to be runny. It won't be runny later. It's going to get really nice and thick. Okay, really nice and thick. And I tell you, that is going to be good on anything for weeks to come. I don't know, even a potato, that will be delicious on. Okay, so that is that. And you know what? Where is, I just want to, I don't know, I can't do, I'm sorry, I cannot resist but put a nice orange on top. Okay, so now we're going to make cornbread. And I know that you've seen me make cornbread just a few weeks ago, but we're going to do Kathy Fisher's recipe, which is pretty fast. Okay, so what we have here, and I like looking at the recipe because I hate forgetting things. And we're going to go to the very last page. So and she actually puts together, usually cornbread is 1 cup of flour to 1 cup of cornmeal, okay? But she does 1.5 cups of cornmeal. So it's actually a bigger recipe than what is considered normal. Okay, so she has 1.5 cups of cornmeal and 1 cup of oats. And I just literally do the oats in the pulverize them to make the oat flour. I don't bother buying any oat flour, okay? Then we have 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of baking powder, okay? So all that's going in, okay? That's going in there. And then we like to get a little spoon, okay? Now, also we have the canned pumpkin, and I have walnuts, and here is this right here. And we are going to try to see if we can make everything work here. So she has 3 ounces of dates, and I have been soaking 3 ounces of dates in 1 cup of water. And what she suggests that we do is we take the canned pumpkin, okay, and I'm going to tell you, This is Brad's Organic. It's been on sale at Fairway, but there's all sorts of brands, and Trader Joe's makes a brand if they ever get it in time for Thanksgiving. It will be a miracle. She tells you after you soak the dates and you put the canned pumpkin in here, okay? Now, one thing that I've made this numerous times, and I really hate digging it all out of the thing. So I actually, instead of putting it all into the blender, I actually dig some of it out and I just put it into here, okay? And we're gonna put this in our silicone 8x8 square pan, and we're gonna get rid of this can, and we're going to blend this. And again, she would have put all of that pumpkin in here, but just to get it out, and let's just see if, I tell you, that electric outlet is just not my friend. We have to come way over here. Okay, that's pretty much it, because you just want those dates to get pulverized, okay? And then that comes out into here, you see? We don't have to spend a long time digging it out because we haven't put all the pumpkin in here. But we do want to get this clean. And I am a real stickler on getting all of this clean. Okay, a real stickler. And for now, we're going to get this in here, okay? And then we're going to get the nuts into here, okay? That's going in here. And we're going to put that there. And we have a pan, a silicone pan. Now, if you didn't have a silicone 8x8 pan, you would use a regular square pan. And then you would line it with 2 pieces of parchment paper. You would cut a piece of parchment paper so it hangs over this direction, and then it hangs over the other direction. So that way, because you're not greasing the pan, that way it just pulls out. Okay? Now, if we just could read the recipe to make sure I haven't the water and the dates and the powder, and you all are not going to see this whole thing come out because I already have pumpkin bread that I made in advance, because we're waiting for our Dukkah steaks to come out while I answer questions. But I just wanted to be able to show you the pumpkin mixing, how fast this is. And it makes 12 big squares, really deep. You want to get all this mixed in. There's no extra milk or anything in here, which always kind of amazes me a little bit. But there's no extra milk. I'm just going to, I don't know what the point of tasting this is, because I know that I put everything in there. Okay, and there's a little bit left here. I know that. And then we're going to put it in the pan, and it will go in the oven. And we're going to check our steaks, and then I'm going to take questions in just 1 minute. But let's just get this in the pan. And this goes here. And the cornbread is right here. Okay, we'll put that. We're going to move all of these things out of here. And we're going to move things back. We have a lot of things today. This is the Dukkah, the cranberry sauce, the cornbread, and we didn't put any and this is going to go into the pan like this. And we just have to get the steaks out. And if they're not quite done, because we have a few more minutes, but we can ask questions, let me just get let's look at the cabbage. And I always give this a shaking shake. Get this. Okay, so this will go in the oven, and it will go in for 45 minutes, actually. It's a long time. And we're going to wait. I'll bake this afterwards. But that is basically the cornbread, okay? And it gets baked, and then ultimately what happens, they get done. You'll take a board, and you'll put it here, and you'll flip it over, and the whole thing will just pop right out. That is the brilliance of the silicone baking pan. Okay, let's look at the steaks in the oven. They need just a little more cooking, but I just want to show you how pretty they are. They need just a little more. We'll take one out this. So we have on a plate, we'll just take one and we'll put the rest back in the oven. And I'm going to get this sheet pan. We'll just take one like this because it's the end and it's little. But the rest, they just need to cook another 5 minutes. And how will you know they're done? You'll know because the cabbage will be nice and brown and crispy. Okay. So this is that. This is that. This is going to go here. And I think we have everything. The only thing that I didn't do was put any black pepper in the salad, which is really going to be. And I like also mixing. It's important to get this marinating, okay? And I just want to show you everything. I think that you can see everything. Let me just get this. And I'm going to move. I'm going to switch this out. And this is very pretty here. I'm going to, so this can be in the front. So we're done. It's a record-making thing. And we have here, we have roasted cauliflower tahini, okay? And we have cranberry sauce with jalapeno and ginger. We have Brussels sprouts with grapes, which are going to be delicious. We also have, oh, and actually, you know what? You could put, it was optional. If you wanted to have a few nuts, you could have a few nuts in your Brussels sprouts. We have ensalada aranche, which is basically fennel and oranges and onions. We have our cabbage and Dukkah steak. And lastly, we have our cornbread with pumpkin and walnuts. We are done, and I can take questions.
Carole, you are amazing. You are getting incredible reviews. What a wonderful selection. Wow. So much. And oh, am I on mute? Hold on.
No, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Sorry. Anyway, the reviews are coming in fast and furious about how amazing, and all in 1 hour. It's just amazing, amazing. And one thing I love absolutely is that you've taken, in particular, is you've taken so many familiar things and you've really pushed the envelope. Like instead of just plain cranberry, you've got cranberry and pear and ginger. Like what a surprising combination.
And jalapeno.
And jalapeno, amazing. And instead of just, you know, a typical cauliflower, that nutty tahini taste, I feel like I could just jump in.
Gosh, this is so good. You're going to eat a whole plate of this. I'm not kidding you.
Sure. And the pumpkin cornbread, I'd never heard of putting pumpkin with the cornbread. So anyway, I just love that you've pushed the flavors to what would otherwise be traditional dishes. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Very quick questions. And then Lenore, who was in the class on Sunday, wants to show you, she took your recommendation, went to the farmer's market, and wants to show you something that you mentioned, but we'll wait for that at the very, very end because I know we have a sharp out in about 7 minutes. So
okay,
Lenore will be right there.
I love Lenore that I remember, I love Lenore and I remember her on Sunday. So great.
Beautiful. So going back to the cauliflower, what shelf in the oven did you bake the cauliflower? I know you were
I guess it would be, it's kind of the middle shelf. It's the middle shelf. And it's a hot oven. You know, anytime you're roasting. So we roasted Brussels sprouts. We roasted cauliflower. We're roasting the cabbage steaks. You're looking for a 400-degree oven. It could be 425. It just needs to be a hot oven, okay? And the middle of the oven is fine.
Great. Okay, very good. When you're zesting, how long does the lemon zest last?
I want to say a week, a long time it feels like.
Okay.
A long time.
I was concerned there would be a loss of nutrients. For people who don't know, there have been studies that using lemon zest or orange zest, the skin of a lemon, the skin of an orange is very good for your skin. But you also have to be careful because some people can be a little allergic if they put it directly on their skin, I think.
But I actually have a container in my refrigerator all the time with zest because I'm constantly zesting. And if the zest isn't going right into the recipe, then, and I get, like today, I've gotten backed up because I've used oranges so much for the last few days. So I end up with a lot of orange zest, but that's going to go away soon because I'm going to eat oatmeal tomorrow, or it's going to go away.
Okay, good. So, Leslie, I think that was your question, and so you can keep the zest longer than I expected. And then, where did you get your beautiful, colorful trivet?
Oh my God. Are you wanting to know? I'm ready to show it off. Are you kidding? This is, okay, this is not an ad, okay? This is not an ad for Trader Joe's. I'm not promoting Trader Joe's. But I love, you know, they make such beautiful, I love felt and I love pom-poms. And these things are usually very expensive, but Trader Joe's, it's like $5. And I wish it came in blues, but it's only in greens and reds. And the other day I just have to tell you that I had this incredible realization that it looked just like my tomatoes. And I loved it. I thought, oh, so anyway, that's my trivet. It's my new trivet and I'm proud to show it off. But I should, you know, I'm not advertising for Trader Joe's.
Lovely. That was it on the questions.
That's it? Out of all the things that we've just made, I've answered everything.
I think everyone is just in awe at how much you made in just an hour. So bravo! It all looks delicious, and hopefully people now have some choices.
I do want to tell you that the things are simple. You know, you can do things quickly if you get things in place, you get the shopping done. You know, the cranberry sauce can be made days ahead of time. You could make this cranberry sauce today for next Thursday, right? And everything else is pretty quick. You know, this salad could even be made in the morning time and taken in the afternoon. The tahini cauliflower, you could make ahead. That would be good. This would be delicious on arugula, honestly. You know, put this on greens. You don't have to just serve this like this. You know, think about putting it on a bed of greens. Like, it could be arugula, it could be kale, whatever your favorite green is. You could put that on. And then, I don't know, grapes and Brussels sprouts are amazing.
Questions are still coming in.
Okay, I'm here listening, and I'm looking and watching the... Oh, you see, this is starting to get done. I just want people to see that it's starting to get done because I'm seeing that it's getting crispy. Okay, it just needs 5 minutes, but you see what it looks like, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Beautiful. Can you leave walnuts out of the cornbread?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The walnuts, you know, don't need to be in there at all.
Great.
And I have a recipe that I just made two episodes ago. We made pumpkin cornbread muffins. You know, but this is a nice cornbread recipe, and I just wanted to share it.
And the question from Judy is, if using plain pumpkin, do you need to add any other spices?
Nope, you don't have to. I mean, you're welcome to. I mean, things that go with pumpkin are sage, you know. I mean, if you wanted to decorate the little square tops, you could put some fresh sage leaves. You could put a few dried cranberries in this. It would be delicious. But I wouldn't, you know, be careful if you're putting cranberries because they're often coated with sugar. So get the unsweetened cranberries. Otherwise, you're adding more sugar to your cranberry, your bread.
Lenore, if you want to share.
I wanted to show you.
Oh, you got a Brussels sprout.
Yeah, I belong to an organic farm, and they sent out an alert this morning saying it's going to be a frost tonight. Come to the farm and pick everything you can. So this is what I picked. All these.
I love it.
Are they gigantic?
They
Amazing?
are gigantic and beautiful.
And
Don't they look like your
Just by
spine?
coincidence, I picked this today. Can you see how big it is? It's exactly what you cooked tonight. And look at this. One more thing I have to show you.
Oh my God, you're making me so excited. Look, I'm about ready to jump through the screen.
Probably can't see it, but this is an entire bag of fresh kale.
Wow.
Oh my God, that is beautiful.
So cool.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. And I know that we're in a mode for signing off right now. In 1 second, Wendy is reading her farewells. But while we're showing off, and I just want to remind everyone that Romanesco is still in season. I bet it will get us through till Thanksgiving. It is my very favorite vegetable. It looks like it's from under the sea. It's very beautiful. It's like a cauliflower. It's like a broccoli, but it's not either one of those things. Very delicious. So
Carole,
thank you, Lenore, for sharing.
Tell us how you save it in the fridge. I put a question in the chat. How do you
how we save the Romanesco?
Or any of these vegetables in the fridge?
Well, I have these green bags. My friend Judy actually gave me all these green bags, but in a bag, or sometimes with cauliflower when I come home, if my fridge is too crowded, I just take it off the stem and then I put it the florets just in a like a Tupperware, like a container like that.
Thank you.
Because sometimes when it's winter and you have a big cabbage and you have things are just too big for these Manhattan refrigerators. So, you have to kind of figure out, like, do I need to take, like kale? Kale, I always take off the stem because otherwise it's like having a big bush in your fridge. So I actually take it off the stem, I wash it, and then I have kale like this. You want to it's ready to go. It's washed and ready to go.
How long can you keep it that way?
I don't know. I guess probably, you know what? I eat it in a week. Like, let's just say 4 days, 5 days at the most. I mean, I eat a lot of kale, so it goes pretty fast.
Carole, Lenore, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lenore. Thank you.
Conversation. 2 quick questions, and then we will sign off. Carole, do you have to grind the Nigella seeds?
Oh, no, you don't have to grind. It says it in the recipe. The 2 last things that you put in the Dukkah are the Aleppo or the chili powder, and then the Nigella seeds are not toasted, nor are they ground. Everything else is ground and toasted. Well, toasted first, then ground.
And Lenore, from a fellow New Yorker, what farm did you purchase your Brussels sprouts?
No, I belong to an organic farm in Amagansett, New York, East Hampton, New York. It's called Quail Hill Farm, and it's a community-sponsored agriculture, so we pick ourselves.
Lovely. Beautiful. Okay. On that note, everyone, thank you so much for coming. For those of you who are new to plant-based eating, I hope you can see, even through the 2-dimensional Zoom camera, the beauty of these gorgeous plants and gorgeous vegetables. And I know that if you make the recipes, you will savor the tastes of them as well. Vegetables.
Look at our steaks. Look how beautiful our steaks are. I just want to show you.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Carole. And on that note, again, thank you, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. A quick reminder of some upcoming events. Plant Powered Metro New York will be having its next cooking session with Carole on December 6th. Before that, our own beloved Carole is going to be on Chef AJ's Thanksgiving show. So Chef AJ is doing a lineup of all the whole food, plant-based, mostly SOS-free chefs. Carole is among the top chefs, and that will be on Thanksgiving Day at 2:00 Eastern Time. So please join us and join Carole for that. December 6th, we'll be back with Plant Powered Metro New York. And then on December 9th, we are partnering with the JCC, Marlene Meyerson, JCC Manhattan, and Carole will be doing some Hanukkah treats. Hanukkah, as you may know, is a festival of lights, and the Hanukkah food is also, I'd like to think, full of light. So join us for these events. Carole can be reached by email at Carole, C-A-R-O-L-E, at thevegievanguard.com, and her website is also in the chat, thevegievanguard.com. And you're asking me about Chef AJ's show. Chef AJ is on YouTube. So if you just go to Chef AJ YouTube, you should be able to find her Thanksgiving show. It's going to be live on YouTube on Thanksgiving Day, 2:00 Eastern Time.
And everybody, just so you know, Chef AJ has a daily show at 11 o'clock. So she does it every day at 11 on YouTube. And she is just not... she's not changing for Thanksgiving. So it's technically 11 o'clock in Pacific time and starts at 2:00 here on the East Coast.
And it's on Thanksgiving Day. A couple of you are asking.
Correct.
So Plant Powered Metro New York is adding classes every week. Keep on checking our website because there's always new things coming up. If you aren't already on our mailing list, please join the mailing list, ppmny.org, and join us on Facebook, join us on Instagram. We have active communities on all these sites, so please join in the conversation and join in the community. Let's see if I've covered everything. We are doing our gentle ask for anyone who wants to contribute donations. We have a full year ahead and we're in need of operating funds. So if anyone desires to make a donation to ppmny.org, please do. Otherwise, we're also very happy to continue offering these classes for your pleasure, enjoyment, and good health. So with that, Carole, thank you. David and Amrika behind the scenes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.